doing a great job. A lot of them are.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. How are you?
Not too bad, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today with Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
May God bless every person.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome for joining us here on this truly fantastic Friday edition of Talk Today. And as I look around the studio, boy, fearful what you say because your employer might hear and say, you know, having so much fun and getting paid to do it, it shouldn't even be considered a job. But this is why we do what we do, and I'm honored to be able to include you in the next discussion. I'll tell you who all our guests are, why we're here. But as a teaser, you want to know? Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255. Courtesy of Flow,
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. And, you know, I may have been away for a while, but thankfully it was the Words of the Country song. And as I look in the studio, probably only one of us like country music besides me. It says, what, better to be...
That's not true.
Oh, so I got 3 people who like it. Well, 2 West Bayers and a West Bayer to be.
I hear from East End. They love country music.
You sure?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
They all raised up in that.
that's all we had.
That's all we had. Bonaire.
There you go, man. You know, I was thinking as I walked into the studio and I went back upstairs quickly to look at the schedule and say, who's coming, right? And then I get down and I see Lord Graham and I see Sir Nosh, and I thought to myself, boy, what a day, what a day.
Royalty.
Royalty. And it could only be better, you know, when they bring a queen to join them. Such enormous time. Miss Neil come and joins us. Empress. I like that.
No castle with the queen.
No castle with the queen, huh? Not when I think of, and I say this respectfully, when I think of the musicians and her. Mm-hmm. Yesterday I had a chance to speak with Gordon Solomon. Mm-hmm. We were looking at the idea that the arts in Cayman as relatively sort of new, young Cayman is in a sense. Mm-hmm. Or musicians or artists. They have phenomenal talent. The collaboration that we see internationally, and to have talent like we'll see, you know, coming up shortly as we talk about the celebration. And to look across at Naomi, and you said, and I want to be as respectful as I can. And he said, you can look at her and see who her mama is. Not as president of the Music Association, it must bring you joy not only to be a talented musician, but to know that you have such a deep bench. If you were a coach, you could draw on anybody to represent the country, locally or internationally. It must bode well.
Absolutely. I'm glad you brought that up. Just recently at the memorial service for David Jonathan, one of the things that the Honourable Minister for Culture said, him and his predecessor, Mr. Mark Scotland, they brought up that the fact that when they first got to know John was when Kimani Marley was coming to the island, and they had a slot to fill for a bass player and a guitarist. They had come down sick in New York and they couldn't come to the island for the concert. And the people that they consulted overseas said to them, you don't need to look for a guitarist or a bass player. You have those on island in Jonathan and Bugs. And when I went up to give my tribute, I was overwhelmed and I had so many things to say. And one of the things I wanted to say was that if they had been looking for a drummer, they had been looking for a rhythm guitarist, a keyboard player, a singer, background vocalist, they could have found all of that right here in the island.
All right.
You know? So you are right. There is there is a wealth of strong local talent here, you know.
I think, as we celebrate our people, whether it's Heroes Day, whether it's just, a get-together, the idea that we not just remember, but we're respectful. And Notch, if I could, as you sort of do me the honors, as you sort of introduced Miss Naomi, we got Blake from Backstreet, we got Rex Ivy, we got Lord Graham. But the significance of what we're doing, why we're assembling there and all that's going on, to give us a perspective.
It's about the event that's happening this evening.
This event
at the Lion Center. It's free to the public. I will say that several times today because we know that everybody likes something free, especially at Christmas time. It's always good to receive. It's always good to give, but it's even better to receive, right? So, the concept behind this event really is to honor the bands of yesteryear. The Music Association has we do have the Mosaic event, which happens in January, but the Mosaic event is more tailored for individuals, and that is more tailored to honor the contribution of individuals. This event is more around honoring the bands of yesteryear, the ensembles that have brought so much joy to the Cayman Islands, and they've really made a cultural impact. I mean, it's priceless what these musicians have contributed to the country in their time, Particularly this time we're going to be honoring the works of the Memory of Justice and the band The Humble and the Meek. For those of you who aren't aware, The Humble and the Meek was one of our first recording bands. Not the first, but one of our first recording bands. And that was headed by Mr. Edward Solomon, who is a recognized CME, a musical icon. The next band, MOJ, we don't need too much introduction for them because they are more of this generation, but we've had it's been a terrible year for music. We've had a lot of major losses, and particularly the band MOJ. So it was just, the time was right to honor all of the guys who were a part of that evolution of that band and of that sound, and we're hoping that the public and the community at large will come out and show their support for this event. The event is actually full of local entertainment. There's a lot of lineups. There's a lot of local bands supporting tonight. We have the Bonafide Band, Fire Squad. We have Regeneration. We have Impulse. Rex is here with us as well to talk a little bit later. And we have this whole event being the cream on the cassava cake, so to speak, is Miss Naomi Cohen, who is present with us, and Mr. Freddie Jackson, who will be calling in at approximately 12:45 today to have a few words from his hotel room on 7 Mile Beach. So we're just happy to be able to do something like this. The Music Association is pleased and thrilled to be involved at this level. I would be remiss of myself if I didn't say a huge thank you to the Minister of Culture for his support in these endeavors, and we just want everybody to come out and have a good time.
Indeed, if I could, I'm certainly looking forward to our continued discussion as we get into chance to speak to Blake and Rex and Lord Graham as well. But Ms. Cowan, if I may ask you, when we look at music, especially music within the Caribbean, we look at Caribbean people, sometimes we think, well, no matter how big the island is, whether it's Cuba or Jamaica, we still think we're small, relatively, population size, geographically. And yet, do we appreciate who we are and what we have?
Yeah, I think, that is definitely an ongoing struggle. Oftentimes, especially in a country like Jamaica, which is, the mecca for reggae music, sometimes at home I find that we only honor and respect artists once we have a word that says them bust, or them you make it big overseas. And I often think, imagine what would happen is if we started to lift up artists from home simply because they're great, not because the world has yet to recognize them. I think if that reverse psychology would actually probably help artists leave the shores of the Caribbean a lot quicker. Not to say we don't want success at home, but physically the islands themselves are smaller, less people, less money on the physical islands. But yeah, you're right. It is important, I think, that we continue to honor, especially those that are legends that pave the way for young artists. And I hope that by doing that, it also helps my generation to lift up one another, You know, I do think there is a movement of young, fresh, artistic people from different islands that are bigging up each other at where we're at right now. You know, like I'll get tweets from like a soca artist in Trinidad. His name is Jimmy October, you know, and he has a totally different sound from your typical. He's doing like a new soca vibe. And then of course in Jamaica we have other artists like myself, Leela Ike, Savannah, you know, Jessie Roya, lots of people like that, where we're now realizing, man, if we just unite now, then we actually can go further together. If we do gigs together, we do tours together, versus, all right, everybody's doing their own thing. So, yeah, there is something to be said about us stop seeing ourselves as too small and seeing that our voices are big. Because if you look into Europe and in California, Australia, New Zealand, all the Hawaii, all of the places that are mimicking reggae, they're really looking to what we're doing here in the Caribbean. And then photocopying it. So if we were stronger in our own voice towards one another, they'd be like, oh, you know, this person is the next this person is the next that. So yeah, it is something to discuss.
And I think that's why when I was looking at the lineup for, not just why we're doing what we're doing this evening, but the artists, the musicians who will be represented. The idea that in the past there was very little unity and collaboration within the Caribbean or even within the islands, you know, specifically. You know. And whether we look back to Bob Marley, and they expected, believe that for him to be as respected, he had to first travel.
Yes.
The Cayman tradition of the seafarer, the man whose home may only have been an uncle or a father, but he went over and became the captain of the greatest vessel. So actually, from that perspective, I mean, we need to start valuing who we are.
Your travel is important. Exposure is huge. I mean, especially in the world like how it is today. I mean, the technology is one thing, but there's a learning experience from the travel that you really can't get just by immersing yourself into the technology. You know, you have to be there to touch and to feel it and smell it and see it. You know,
but maybe something whether later on in the discussion or whether for another day. No, just the idea that, you know. I use it from this way. I look again back to the Cayman heritage. The men went, the women stayed behind. What does it say? You know, a man's work, you know, from son to son, a woman's work is never done. And for the women who say, you know, you have to work twice hard to be considered half as good, the notion that within our space in the Caribbean, we need to be willing to champion excellence, to always excel and to demonstrate that we are as good, if not better. But to what Ms. Cowell was sharing earlier, we believe because we're small, you know, we have little to offer. There's very little to draw on.
Think big.
Isn't it easier to find a red marble in a glass that's empty than to find a needle in a haystack? We should be able to identify what we have, right?
Totally. And I think even, you know, if you look, you know, the folks that invest in different industries and that make things happen, open doors, you know, they look to the people as to what the people want, what the people need. And, you know, coming from having a background in the media and the creative industries and now being a full-time musician, I would just wonder if, you know, if more, let's say more locals demanded local music, if our powers that be would put funding into local music development or into local media. You know that, like we all know, I mean, I Cayman, you guys look like you have your stuff together in certain ways, but even in Jamaica, a lot of people, you know, for example, in the media and in certain industries, because people don't feel as though they can really build a life in that space. And it's just say, oh, that's so sad that, you know, I can't, as a Jamaican, say, hey, I want to spend the next 20, 30 years of my life telling the stories of my people as a news broadcaster without thinking that I'm going to struggle as a female or I'm going to have to marry rich. That's really, very you know, because in the Caribbean, it's like people that do media, it's like, oh, you must be like a pretty girl who was a Miss Jamaica, or you know, people, you know, you have very few actual professional media practitioners, not because we're not there, but because we realize that we almost, in a way, can't have a livelihood from it. I know people that work corporate Jamaica, they're in other industries, and they might, you know, read a sports broadcast later in the day or whatever the case is. So, well, why can't that person go in every day and do what they love? However, our people need to know, say, boy, Jamaican TV was so good, or, you know, Caymanian radio, that's great. Not, hey, I need to, you know, maybe I'll watch a local broadcast and then go back to, you know, ABC, Fox, NBC. So I think our people, we have to now develop a thirst, because, you know, the government will respond to that. Which is why I know more money is being invested into sports, because the world wants world-class athletes. So, you know, there's so much to be said.
Would sometimes, you know, we need to hear the voice and that is perhaps initially unfamiliar from outside. For some reason, we believe that, it's only good unless we hear from somebody else. We don't have the respect. Would you allow me to ask of you, whether you choose to? We hear words like, xenophobia, we hear words like nepotism, always shown about when people decide to fear its own. Right? And with that in mind, given who you are, your phenomenal talent, but your background in relation to the creative arts, for our people to get where we need to go, within Cayman, within the Caribbean Islands, and collectively, how do we make sure that we invest in that we champion excellence, but we ensure that we're always raising the bar? And whether you want to be, in the media as a performer, or you want to be as part of the creative team that presents the on-air talent, that you're compensated, but that you're also professional. And then not switching from the local, where it's perceived to be mediocre, to that thing that is,
So your question is how what?
How do we get both the people and the government and the corporate community
all
involved
on
board and invested? And I know you're going to be heading out shortly with North Show.
Hi,
do we leave it on the table?
It's great to meet you.
Yeah. Yeah, so how do we get our people on board? I mean, I think it's a mental and cultural shift that takes time.
Yeah.
I think for any group, mass movement, it really starts in the mind. If you look at even the development of churches and massive organizations like that, really and truly, it's just that they figured out how to touch people's mind and souls at the same time, where they'll want to continuously come back, continuously repeat a certain message. In the church, we repeat the message of Jesus Christ over and over and over, but that's 2,000 years of work when he came, so he did a good marketing job. And so I think it's for us, in every generation as we move forward, is to continue pushing the message of, hey, we need, for me as an artist, people back home would be like, wow, Naomi, I see you, you're in Miami and you're in New York. And so they think that you don't need us. But it's if I don't have my Jamaican people championing me, almost in a way, my name abroad may not mean so much, because when an abroad person looks to Jamaica to say, boy, I want to bring over a reggae singer, and they're going to look and they're going to call and say, hey, Naomi, come on. They may, so we still need each other, because you're home ground, just like Drake needs Canada. Drake needs Toronto. Even though he made it big through Lil Wayne and America, whatever, but Drake, if you look at, he's in Toronto 3, 4, 5 times a year, hosting parties, doing stuff with people, because if he loses relevance on home soil, then what?
I like it. Notch, I know you got to move on. And Miss Naomi, you going to join him, or you will remain with us? What works for your schedule?
Should remain with us.
I'll
should remain with us.
All right.
But
perfect.
Before I go, I just want to remind everyone, it's a free event. Gentlemen, please push that a little bit further down the line. I know you're going to talk about all of the local entertainment that's going to be there. I just want everybody to come out and support. Show your love. Show your support for local music. It's really important, as Ms. Cowan was just saying. That endorsement, that validation from your own people, that is what this is all about. Right. It's priceless. Yeah?
All right, as you come back.
Sean, see this, it's not too late to sponsor. You can still call up.
All right.
Absolutely.
If you got something to donate.
Perfect.
You can call the radio right now and we'll take that.
Perfect.
Whatever it is.
All right, Rexy, we'll get to that. When we come back, we'll talk more about it. I appreciate Miss Naomi sticking around a little bit with us. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
South Coast Bar and Grill up in Breakers, man, that is the place. For traditional Cayman cuisine, oh, you will love the taste. At South Coast Bar and Grill, we got conch and lobster and turtle stew. And every Sunday, come out with your family for the barbecue.
South Coast Bar and Grill by the seaside, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. daily, lunch and dinner. Call us at 947-2517.
For Cayman and cuisine, the talk today is South Coast Bar and Grill.
I didn't mean to hurt her. Work was tough. We're struggling financially. I had a few drinks to relax, but then the argument started. It was a mistake to hit her. Now I don't have a job. I don't have a wife. I can't afford to feed my family. This was a hard lesson to learn. Never forget that walking away from something unhealthy is brave. Stop to slap. Stop to cycle. Stop the violence.
The Stop the Slap campaign has been proudly sponsored by Cayman National Bank. Stop the slap. Stop the cycle. Stop the violence.
It's more than what we do. It's who we are. We were your official bank of the quincentennial celebrations in 2003. We were your Bank of the Year 4 times. We were voted as the inaugural top employer in 2010. We were the inaugural Business of the Year awardee in 2017. Who are we? We are Cayman National, your local bank, proudly serving you for over 40 years. It's because of you that our journey continues.
Stay connected and share your favorite holiday moments with Flow. Pick up the Alcatel A1 from $70 or the Samsung J2 Pro, packed with sweet features, from $130. Every week you can win cash and prizes in our Cash Cube when you top up. Also check out our weekly top-up specials. Visit Flow's Facebook and Instagram pages to follow the deals. Plus, top up $25 or more for plenty chances to win great Flow holiday prizes. So make it Flow for everything mobile this Christmas. Visit discoverflow.ky for more. Terms and conditions apply.
For more than 30 years, Rotary Central has worked along with our business community, business advisors, media, and schools, introducing over 500 students annually to the universe of business. Students are guided to create, operate, and deliver products to market. Today, thousands of Caymanian business professionals point to junior achievement as their introduction to business. When you support Rotary Central fundraisers like the Music Extravaganza, you support Cayman's next generation of business professionals. High schoolers learn human resources, sales, marketing, accounting, compliance, legal skills, manufacturing. Cayman's next generation business professionals find purpose and get inspiration through Rotary Central Junior Achievement programs. Junior Achievement, another inspiration project by Rotary Central.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. Thanks for joining us. And, hopefully as you hear our voices, with great respect to, Ms. Naomi Cowan, that you will listen to her specifically. But sometimes it's not just that unfamiliar voice, that custom, but something unexpected. But we need as a people to be able to not only hear our own, but hear somebody else who's saying the same things that we've been told for generations, but for whatever we never heeded. So as we continue the discussion, and we got a good company of I say Blake, but Blake Hurlston. So Blake, if I say Blake, that's okay, right? Okay. And it's almost difficult not to say Lord Graham. Yeah. But Rex, I ask you to keep Graham in check.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
If you can.
I'll be at my best behavior.
He made a promise.
Yeah, I always expect that. No, listen, he says he may not be handsome, but he's a gentleman.
Oh, yeah. Got it, girls. I know you're not married, so.
But when Notch was leaving and we were thinking of tonight, yes, it's a free event in the sense that we can come and there is no paid admission. But the greatest gift that I think we can give as parents to our children is our time. The greatest gift that we can give as a people is spending time and investing in our communities. And we come out tonight, yes, it's Christmas, yes, we get to be entertained, but we get to fellowship, if I can use that word specifically, and to be a part of it. I mean, the greats that are assembled here, whether it's going to be our international visiting artists or otherwise, we could be mindful of what lies ahead. Rex, I'm going to ask you to share as you wish, and then I'll ask a specific question. If you don't share, what you will. Tonight, the significance and the symbolism, the meaning and perhaps the message.
Well, it's going to make me pause a bit, but Graham can tell you at the birthday jam, me and Renry Conley, there were endless Caymanians showed up for the event. And it could only be continued to bring our people back out. So we would be doing a series of shows annually. Mm-hmm. our people have been suffering for entertainment. There's nothing, no clubs for mid-age people where they are. You know, there's nothing. So we say, listen, nothing to get out Pirates Week. Nothing.
All right.
Not even one job. We're all people who had all the Pirates Week jobs. So we say, listen, we're going to have me and Charles Gregory talk after the show, the 19th of August to be exact. And he agreed that MOJ would play just one more time. And Renard agreed to be the drummer. So I said to Renard, it's a good time to honor your brother, Jigo, George, but the only person in the band that had passed away. At the time. Dwayne Seymour, the Minister of Culture, who makes it possible for these events to, oh my God, can't explain. Too much. And he was in Cayman. The house was sitting for a week or two up there. And when he arrived back on the island, and he got to work right away. Greg is still alive. We started to put the show together. They offered Manhattans to help us boost it. The Manhattan, because of the time of the year. Well, something happened that they couldn't make it. They could make it, but they would have to be fly out on private jet. It was getting expensive. So Freddie Jackson came aboard, and then the young lady here, Greg passed. So we said we needed more boosting. Here it is.
Come on.
We're pretty hurt. I'm telling you.
I can see it, man.
Sean came aboard with Music Association and done all the necessary stuff, and we started to get our local acts together. I agreed to Dwayne that Graham was going to host the show because he does a good job. And we try to get all the people that were pretty popular to boost it. You know, we want all the Caymanians to come out, all the foreigners. We don't care who and where you're from. Come out tonight, and we will deliver.
Graham, that idea that sometimes, you know, we don't always appreciate, you recognize what's before us, right? And those of us who know you, well, probably not, I can't think of anybody who probably either don't or haven't heard of you. There's a jovial side, there's always a disarming smile, but there's a seriousness and there's a professionalism, right? And you bring, as Rex was sharing, you know, to the table that wonderful sort of spirit of, you know, camaraderie and the like. For you, not just as the MC, but being a part of this, what is that?
Well, you know, when Rex mentioned it, the birthday bash that we had up at South Coast, that I was actually off island. I flew back to be the MC, and when he told me the idea, you know, I thought it was a great thing because I grew up on the 7 Mile Beach. You know, the Galleon Beach on Wednesday night, the Coral Cayman, the Royal Palms, all those places that had live music. All we knew was live music. Back then we didn't know anything about disco. It was always live music. And when he said that we were going to assemble all the bands or musicians to come out and play, you know, I flew back to the island just to be a part of it. So, you know, I think for a very, very long time, you know, this should be coming for a long time. It was coming for a long time because Rexa mentioned it to me many times. But as you know, everybody was too busy doing their individual thing, like Naomi mentioned a while ago. You know, everybody doing their individual thing, trying to, you know, the hustle, you know. So, you know, coming together that night kind of showed me how great it could be if we all chip in.
Miss Naomi, only because of not only because of your intellect, but that obvious passion that you possess. And sometimes I keep thinking that we can read, we can even watch a film, you know, but do we take away from it as much as we can, as Graham was sharing, being in the audience watching a live performance, whether it's a musical group or whether it's a production on the community theatre. For tonight, as we are there, many are going to be enjoying the festivity. They'll be there to hear the music and to laugh and like. But is there more to it than that in terms of what the takeaway could be, or is it just a good time?
I mean, for sure, live, musicians in the room, so we know there's nothing better than a live show, and even for lovers of music, people who love music know that you always want to hear your favorite or anybody live, because there's something that happens in that moment. What I love about live music is it can never be repeated. Yeah. Whatever happens on December 7th tonight is never gonna happen ever again live, right? Yeah, that's right. And that's why I do what I do. Music as a musician is really not for, like, people say, why do you do it? I said, because I love when I get to perform and have that moment with those people, no matter if it's 5, 10, 15, 20 or whatever. We had that experience and that will never go away. So there's that. But in terms of what I think people can take away from it is understanding that there's a legacy. Especially here on the Cayman Islands, that shapes who the people are today and where the country is going. And I feel the same about Jamaica as well, and even just our entire region, is that our region is, so many people flock here for different things. And, when you look at people who are return visitors to any island, there's a reason why they keep coming back to your island. It's not because of the resort, because there's so many of them that are cheaper in Cuba, in Mexico, in, South America. But there are people that I know they're faithful visitors to the Cayman Islands. Obviously, we have a lot of expats here. There's faithful visitors to Jamaica. And what is it? Why is it that people say, oh, is there something magical about this place? But a huge part of that magic is the music. Yeah. It's the talent. Yeah. It's the culture. It is the struggles that shaped the music that first came out. The music of the 50s, 60s, and 70s can never be repeated, because that's your post-colonial, sound. That's the sound of a people that said, I'm done.
Platform.
Yeah. Which is why Reggae Rocksteady is so powerful, because it was literally birthed out of, man, you know what? We're done with making R&B covers. I'm done doing doo-wop. I'm going to make something. So with that said, I think what people can take from it is even as a time to refresh. I don't know when your independence was, forgive me, or when you guys aren't fully. When you're the country's sorry,
we're working on that.
The country's not independent. Sorry, but I don't know if there's like a certain holiday of like a celebration of, because Cayman have a national day, but I just think about it like it's that day of the year. Think about tonight like it's one of those days of the year when you truly are saying, this is who we are, because the music on every island plays a big part in who you are.
Yeah, but just to say this, before Blake get a break to say something, talking to Greg and Errol Watler used to manage the band MOJ, and when I pinched Lam about it, everybody got so excited to see that Lam got that excitement in him still. He told us last night at rehearsal, he said to me, tonight we're going to have some fun. Okay?
You should walk him on.
So it's not a memorial service.
No.
It's a night of fun, in case anybody think that they never got a chance to perform. I can see Notch, he done a great job to make sure we had a good lineup also. Everybody can be honored the same time, but there will come a time that everybody will get their day. Yeah. They'll get their chance, because we got people calling us asking why this one never performed and that one. Mm-hmm. And then we got a young Fire Squad band. Well, we want the young people to see the years it took some of their fathers to become legend. Chris Seymour is Lama's son. So that's a good thing to come up to see tonight.
That legacy that Naomi talked
I love those guys. Them guys are just like family to me,
Yeah. Well, exactly, and I think it's cool that you guys have combined. The lineup is a combination. Sometimes we do these tribute shows and forget there are people doing it now, and I'm grateful to be part of this. To be representing even my legacy. My dad was in the Jamaicans, which was a band formed in 1966, and they were rocksteady.
4 years old. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were famous for a song called "Baba Boom Festival Time" and "Things You Say You Love." Which I also have a version of, which I'll be singing tonight. Right. That was my first release because I wanted to, honor my legacy in that way. So, I think I'm excited. I love being part of these kinds of shows because I'll never, same thing again. I'll be able to say, I can say, hey, I shared a stage with Humble and Meek. I shared a stage with these bands. There's shows I've been on where Barry's Hammond performed the same night. I was on Sumfest this year. That's crazy. like, how many people can say, hey, I was on the same stage? I mean, I didn't sing with him at the same time, but that's cool.
You shared the time zone.
That time zone, and I was on that lineup. That's amazing. Those things are epic for me, as a young artist. So tonight, man, come out for the fun and come out to, be strengthened, I guess, as a Caymanian when it comes to.
And listen, thanks for sharing with us. And I hope
thank you for having me.
People,
You're fabulous.
man.
Thank you.
They hear your voice and they be as encouraging, enthusiastic, and as you enjoy your time here.
Yeah, man. I can't wait to come back.
Yeah, man.
On only for partying. I'm just kidding. It's been a work trip. But next time we'll come back for have pure fun.
There you go. Well, we're going to pause, man. When you come back, Blake Rex and Lord Graham will share with us, hopefully get some more opportunities. So please, stay tuned for Talk Today.
I didn't mean to hurt her. Work was tough. We're struggling financially. I had a few drinks to relax. But then the argument started. It was a mistake to hit her. Now I don't have a job. I don't have a wife. I can't afford to feed my family. This was a hard lesson to learn. Never forget that walking away from something unhealthy is brave. Stop the slap. Stop the cycle. Stop the violence.
The Stop the Slap campaign, proudly sponsored by Foster's IGA. Stop the slap. Stop the cycle. Stop the violence.
Who's the leader in savings?
It's Foster's. Experience the giving with amazing prizes and tasty experiences daily with Foster's IGA's 12 Days of Giving.
Shop daily from December 10th for your chance to win tickets to Kaboo and the Cayman Cookout, the iPhone XS, $1,000 to the Kimpton Seafire Resort and Spa, and more.
Plus, be entered to win one of 3 grand prizes. Free groceries for a year.
For everything 12 Days of Giving, visit fosters-iga.com.
At Foster's Food Fair IGA, we care.
For more than 30 years, Rotary Central has worked along with our business community, business advisors, media, and schools, introducing over 500 students annually to the universe of business. Students are guided to create, operate, and deliver products to market. Today, thousands of Caymanian business professionals point to junior achievement as their introduction to business. When you support Rotary Central fundraisers like the Music Extravaganza, you support Cayman's next generation of business professionals. High schoolers learn human resources, sales, marketing, accounting, compliance, legal skills, manufacturing. Cayman's next generation business professionals find purpose and get inspiration through Rotary Central Junior Achievement programs. Junior Achievement, another inspiration project by Rotary Central.
I am worried about my employees' health insurance. Are there any companies out there that I can rely on for great coverage, affordable payments, and who will work to make the switch as easy as possible? Or am I asking for too much?
You sound like you need Fidelity Health. At Fidelity, they offer great coverage through a highly rated and trusted carrier, payments I can afford, and with no on-island deductible on all the plans they offer. Best of all, they offered my company 50% back on the first month's premium.
This is too important. Today's the day I am switching to Fidelity Health.
Make the easy switch to Fidelity today and get 50% cash back on your first month's premium until December 31st. Call 949-7822 to make your switch now.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back, and thanks for joining us. And it's something that I was just thinking of during the break, and I think Rex, as I was looking at you, this evening and this whole sort of occasion and this time, it's special and spectacular, but it's also emotional in a sense.
It's really emotional.
And people don't always appreciate that whether you're a radio personality, you're an entertainer, whether you're a politician or a pastor, you're probably more than likely human, all right? So he cut me, do I not believe? You have to present continually a certain expectation, right? So as we continue the discussion and inviting, the audience this evening to come out to Lion Center for a reason, we talk to Blake and Graham and Rex. I think Susan tells me we have a caller join us. So Susan, do we know who and what, where and why? All right, let's listen to Susan. Good afternoon, welcome.
Good afternoon, Dwayne, and welcome back.
My lady, how are you? Welcome on.
I'm okay, thanks. We missed you very much. We miss your little grin. Like that.
Aye. Well, I tell you what.
I really don't know the guest that you have on because I just turned on the radio. I'm sorry.
Well, I should have probably done a better job. We have Blake Hurlston, we have Graham Rankin, and, I was thinking when Rex came in, what the best way to introduce Rex? Because there's, without question, an infinite knowledge and passion for everything. And you mentioned Errol Waller just now.
Yeah. Well, this is Rex Waller.
Yeah, no, I know. And we think of Errol as, well, is he the farmer? Is he the father of music? As the manager? Is he
owner of Akatang?
Yeah. Is he all these things?
I don't know what to call him.
Yeah. And Rex, you're similar.
Oh.
Well,
he loved me and I love him. He just keeps me into music. Him and Lam, just.
Yeah. I mean, you could always be.
I don't know what about him if I had to pay him cash.
There you
Hello?
go. But, yes, ma'am.
I really love him.
Okay. I go way back, and none of those guys there are old enough to remember that, including you. Well, I don't know though. But including you, I know you don't remember the
Marcianos.
Yes, they used to play at Club Blue Horizon and Club Inferno. And the late MacArthur Manderson was lead guitar.
Yep.
Rupert Ackerman.
Yep.
I think he played bass. And late Paddy Foot.
The drummer.
And then it went on, and Mikey
Hurlston.
And it went on then to the Hummel and Meek, which was Leonard Borden,
Edward Solomon,
and they played Blue Horizon, which is now turned into a house, and they also used to play at the Galleon Beach Hotel, which now sits West End.
Yes.
And that was a weekend thing. And when ska came out, it came out from Byron Lee. And Byron Lee used to visit down here ever so often, him and his whole band. But they also had a Jamaican band, and I was wrecking my brain because there was no computers, wrecking my brain to try to remember the name of that band, which was a all-girls band. And they were Jamaican Chinese. Boy, couldn't they play. But you know something? Back in those days, it was much more Caribbean music being played then than it is now. And I don't understand why in the summertime when things slow down, why does the hotels don't hire our local bands? Because they still have guests, and guests is wondering what they can do, where's the nightlife and stuff like that. So I learned to dance the ska at the Galleon Beach Hotel, and then when I started to go to Europe and reggae had come out, all I could hear was Bob Marley. I say, yeah, I can relate to this one. And in Switzerland, they had a nightclub called the Blackout, which was next to the Zurich airport. I can only tell you these things if any of you guys have traveled there. And guess who was playing? Byron Lee, all Caribbean music. Then next time I went back, guess who was playing? Bob Marley. And you hear this Caribbean music all over Europe that you can travel to. And I like to hear the same thing in Cayman. I want to hear more Caribbean music. I'm sure the tourists do not come here to listen to the same thing they hear back in the United States or back in Canada. So, congratulations, you boys, or you gentlemen, I should say. You're still boys, because I'm older than you.
Yes, Mom.
Thank you, too. But thank you.
Well, thank you, Mom. Thank you. And, sorry. But thanks. Anything else, Mom? Okay. Hey, thanks very much. When we come back, the caller not only gives us a historical lesson, but reminds us of how important it is. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the concert. When we come back after a news break, I've been gone for long, but I still remember that Susan runs the show. So we have the news. When we come back, we can talk. Please stay tuned for Talk Today.
Radio Cayman. Radio Cayman's newsroom. These are the biggest stories right now.
FCO Minister of State for the Overseas Territories, Lord Ahmad of Wimbledon, and Honourable Premier Alden McLaughlin signed a Memorandum of Understanding in London, paving the way for the purchase and operation of a new helicopter by the RCIPS Air Operations Unit. The deal signed in London will see the UK contribute 25% of the purchase price and running costs of the new helicopter from the Conflict, Stability and Security Fund, with the Cayman Islands providing the balance. The overall cost of the new aircraft is just over $11 million, which also includes equipment and a training package. Good afternoon, I'm Dion Anglin with your headlines. In news elsewhere, Germany's ruling Christian Democrat Union has chosen Annegret Kramp-Karrenbauer as their new party leader. But Angela Merkel plans to serve out her term as Chancellor until 2021. The CDU General Secretary won 517 of the 999 votes cast. As the head of Germany's largest party, Ms. Kramp-Karrenbauer could become the next German Chancellor. Chinese telecoms giant Huawei has been the focus of international scrutiny, with several countries raising security concerns about its products. Then on December 1st, the company's chief financial officer was arrested in Canada. A bail hearing is expected to take place on Friday. It has now been reported, though, that Japan's government will stop buying equipment from Huawei and rival Chinese manufacturer ZTE. And a winter storm has caused chaos in parts of California, bringing heavy rains to some areas and snow elsewhere. The state is still recovering from devastating wildfires, which killed dozens of people last month. That's a wrap of your headlines. I'm Dion Anglin.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
I am worried about my employees' health insurance. Are there any companies out there that I can rely on for great coverage, affordable payments, and who will work to make the switch as easy as possible? Or am I asking for too much?
You sound like you need Fidelity Health. At Fidelity, they offer great coverage through a highly rated and trusted carrier, payments I can afford, and with no on-island deductible on all the plans they offer. Best of all, they offered my company 50% back on the first month's premium.
This is too important. Today's the day I am switching to Fidelity Health.
Make the easy switch to Fidelity today and get 50% cash back on your first month's premium until December 31st. Call 949-7822 to make your switch now.
Business owners and marketing managers, did you know that during the holidays, 1 in every 3 persons in Cayman search findyellow.com? Get more visibility for your business with Yellow's special Christmas advertising package. Contact our advertising consultants at 949-7027 or visit findyellow.com to find out more. Yellow, we know Cayman.
Oh, this Christmas, Kirk Freeport is wishing everyone peace, love, joy, and $40,000 in prizes. Win one of the multiple $5,000 and $1,000 cash prizes just for shopping at your favorite Kirk Freeport store. Purchases of $100 before noon on Christmas Eve qualify for all remaining prize draws. There's even a Rolex watch prize draw on January 2nd, and loads of other great prizes. Peace, love, joy, and the island's biggest Christmas sweepstakes. Only from Kirk Freeport. Full details on kirkfreeport.com. Merry Christmas from Kirk Freeport.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waging to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today, and thanks for joining us. But also thanks to the people in our communities who continually, find ways to invest heavily, not just through their, as our friend talked about, she says, your time, your talent, or your treasure. So they may have a particular amount of treasure but it's the time and it's the willing to utilize the talent in order to. So Graham Rankin, as I look at you, and I do again appreciate all of you sharing. Graham is only Graham. But Graham, talk to us, man.
Yeah, sitting here and thinking, I remember, going back when we had all the live music. I remember we never had a lot of facilities. Lion Center was not there. It was just a stage with a little back room. And we had more activities, live music going on there than we have now.
Yeah.
I remember having Battle of the Band. There was such a thing as Battle of the Band. Whatever happened to that?
Music showcase.
Magic showcase at the cinema, at the movie theater. Whatever happened to that? We also used to have live music, local musicians at all of the major hotels, even on weekdays, Wednesday night at the Galleon Beach. Whatever happened to that? And I'm sure that the tourists don't come down here to listen to Frank Sinatra or somebody at the hotel. You know what I mean?
Let me give a little answer on that.
I really do believe that we should start getting the local music, live bands back into those
I want you to pause right there because it's your conversation. First of all, at the hotels when you play, they don't want you to mix with the tourists. And that's experience I'm speaking about. We played at the Ritz. The first band played at the Ritz-Carlton was my band. They played there 6 years straight. And they don't want you to mix with the tourists.
Well, I don't think that they can stop the tourists if you were playing good music and they want to come up and interact with you and stuff like that. I guess it's all.
But they are more like private functions. They don't really want to have nothing with the band that you could invite out your friends to come around and jam and dance. And so book parties booked from overseas and stuff like that, but corporate companies and stuff like that. So, till we get that back and get a hotel to cater for the locals and the foreigners to mix together.
And then to carry on what I was saying, then Mr. Bush, the McKeever Bush, came up with this jazz fest, something that a lot of the other Caribbeans have that is very, 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 very huge, especially in St. Lucia. They got a huge jazz fest, and it just continued to build and get bigger and bigger. And then I thought that was a great thing because I never missed one. We got to see some great people came to the island, and then we got our local musicians got to play with people like Alicia Keys, like Naoma was just saying here. She's shared that experience, the same stage with some famous people at Sunsplash. Yeah. So here our local musicians can put on their resume that I opened for a real famous person like Alicia Keys or someone of the likes, right? Exactly. And then to continue, I went to my good friend John, who I say a silent tribute to, daily, and Greg also at the church, and I experienced almost what you would call an orchestra made up of Caymanians. That was so amazing. Those guys never played rock music or calypso music. They played gospel music with a tempo. I don't know if they practiced.
We did.
I had Edward sing Amazing Grace. It was amazing, the band that was on stage. When I listened to this band, it was like the Teddy Pendergrass orchestra behind him, with the 45-piece band.
It was possible, right?
I mean, I was blown away.
I'm so glad to be a part of that.
Yeah, I actually had him tell McKeever, I said, McKeever, you got to hear this band. He said, what band? I told him a bunch of guys came together on stage, and now he got it in his head now that band should stay together and they should add some horns. We should just add some horns.
All he got to do is create the events.
Creative and the finance.
Well, that was Sean. That was Sean we're talking about a while ago. It don't matter who you ask for and what instrument you play. That's how good we are now. People think they're being good.
We go on stage and say,
"Get us to play. Get us to play at a party." And you say how good we are.
Okay, and because I gotta be out of here soon, I always thought that for Pirates Week, what we should do, we should create a house band made up of local musicians, and then we'll get the different singers, artists to come and rehearse with that band. Okay, but what we have to do is the same amount of money that we give the guy that jump off the plane, the per diem, the airline tickets, the hotel fee, the car, and the $45,000 or $35,000 for the gig. We have to give that same money to the local band, and that local band are told that this is what you got to do. You got 3 months to do it. Okay? Next year is the same thing. Not necessarily mean the same musician will play next year, because if we have a musician that are not up to par, then we replace them, or if we have to go. But we must have a local house band. You go to Trinidad. Do you know? I understand that for an outside band to play in the Trinidad Carnival, they have to pay to play.
Oh yeah.
They have to pay to play.
Cayman,
but we pay them to come here to play. When we could have our local guys create a house band to play.
Well, Graham,
it's our national festival.
You saying that, not saying this. Getting to know some of the bands that come out of Trinidad, some of them became friends here. I don't know how people can lie to us so much. They can call us 3 days before the Pirates Week, and they call them in January to put a band together to play for Pirates Week.
6 months.
I mean, how you expect someone that could be booked for something else to just find time to play for you now, when you couldn't book them?
I actually understand that some of those bands have never played a gig for the whole year, and the money that they get from here can carry them on for the whole entire year. You know. And they don't own equipment. They stop in Miami and rent some equipment.
If we had people like Dalkeith Barfell running Pirates Week, we'll have a good Pirates Week. You need people.
How about Brent McLean?
I don't know much more than I got called Dalkeith. You nominate someone else, and you nominate someone else. Let's see if we can get somebody.
No, well, what I'm saying,
because those guys gonna keep it local, and to hell with the Trinidadian thing. Stay Trinidad, man. We need our ground. We need to find our ground back. And we're going to get Sean to put back what we have local, and we're going to have shows that going to kill it. One of the two.
I'd like to get back to what Graham was saying about having a house band. I agree with that, and there's other things in place that can be done. For instance, your band, my band, we could advertise for guest artists, local guest artists.
That's right.
Instead of going up just for the guest.
And if you go bring in somebody, you bring in a guest artist to play with their house band. The local guys.
You know what I mean?
And leave the musicians in the country, because they hired them just to come here. They don't play with them regularly.
Anyway, we kind of get off track. We want to promote what's happening
for tonight. Now, Graham, I know you say you.
Hey, you guys out there, all you music enthusiasts. Guess what? I'm hosting the show, so you need to come out. Kick back as we do it to you in your eardrums.
Graham, thanks, man.
Yeah.
All right.
And before you go, we made him a promise, because he talks, has a little bit good input into these shows. We'll be entering East End with one of the shows.
Oh wow,
coming here.
What?
And I'll leave all that to him to put together.
That's a tribute to me, the legend.
Yeah. So I want to be able to thank him for the good work that he's been doing.
Yeah. So the man, the legend, the Graham.
We got to go through our districts.
Yeah.
Actually, you're right, man. You're right.
Sure. It's nice being here with
and
you
that's
guys.
what will make our business people that didn't respect us again, because God knows.
Yeah, man. All right, well, when we come back, we'll focus specifically on this evening's event. Blakey, you can share with us some more, Rex. Graham, thanks. I know you're going to do, as usual, a phenomenal job emceeing the event tonight. I know you have probably as much, if not more, fun than everybody in the audience. And because of your enthusiasm, everybody is going to have even more fun.
The place could be full of ladies. I got 5,000 ladies on my Facebook page.
You know, Graham the thing about it, right?
All right, we got pause. When we come back, we'll talk today.
CUC advises customers in West Bay between the Hell Gift Shop and Hell Road East to and including Dill Lane on Reverend Blackman Road and south on Town Hall Road to and including Billy Mandersing Drive that they will experience interruptions to their electrical service on Wednesday, December 12th between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. Areas affected on Hell Road include Fountain Road up to and including Agua Lane, and areas affected on Town Hall Road include Billy Mandersing Drive and Sanchez Villas. Motorists are asked to drive with caution when utilizing Hell Road, Reverend Blackman Road, and Town Hall Road, as CUC will have a number of vehicles and personnel in these areas. CUC apologizes for this interruption, which is necessary to upgrade line hardware and provide our customers with safe, reliable, and efficient power. For more information on the outage and areas and streets affected, please contact CUC's customer service team at 949-5200 or email service@cuc.ky.
I need a bank that is convenient for me.
What do you mean?
I need a bank that has easy-to-find locations and plenty ATMs when I need cash on the go.
Oh, well, that's easy. You need to bank with Cayman National. They have 7 customer service centers and 23 ATM locations. The newest one is at the East End Post Office, and I hear there's more to come.
Well, sounds like I need to bank with Cayman National Bank, the convenient bank, because they seem to be everywhere.
Yeah, that's true. Cayman National is everywhere. Surely they are Cayman's convenient bank.
Cayman National Bank. We're here for you.
Retain your peace of mind by installing a reliable generator, knowing that your family is safe and secure during a power outage. At Corporate Electric, we care about the well-being of our customers and their loved ones. We are the official distributor of Kohler SDMO generators in the Cayman Islands and can conduct a free assessment of your house to suggest the perfect fit. Call us at 946-2277. Visit our website or the Facebook page for more details.
Advance Automotive Chevrolet is celebrating their 10th birthday by giving away $10,000 to one lucky person who buys a brand new Chevrolet. Not buying a new car this year? Well then, why not be one of 10 people who could win free gas for a year? Book any service with Advance Automotive before December 19th to enter. And remember, Advance Automotive can service any make of vehicle so everyone can enter. Visit AdvanceChevrolet.com for more details or call 945-9191 to book your service today. Terms and conditions apply.
You need Fidelity Health. At Fidelity, they offer great coverage through a highly rated and trusted carrier. Payments I can afford, and with no on-island deductible on all the plans they offer. Best of all, they offered my company 50% back on the first month's premium.
Make the easy switch to Fidelity today and get 50% cash back on your first month's premium until December 31st. Call 949-7822 to make your switch now.
Christmas is coming early this year at Brand Source, just in time to spruce up your home with a fresh new look for the holiday. Come early morning, Saturday, December 8th, for the best discount. Save big with 25% off store-wide from 8 a.m. to noon on appliances, mattresses, bathroom fixtures, vanities, custom closets, and kitchen cabinets. From noon until close, get 15% off. So come early and save more. Saturday, December 8th at the pre-Christmas sale event at Brand Source Home Gallery, Industrial Park.
King Sports Center takes pride in being more than just an ordinary gymnasium. For 14 years, their multi-purpose facility has been providing the community with a variety of sporting, recreational, and relaxation activities. King Sports Center has a bowling alley, lounge bar, multi-purpose rooms, powerhouse gym, rock climbing wall, bungee jumping, a 10,000 square foot rink, and so much more. For more information on the variety of services, call their friendly staff today at 946-5464 or email kings@candw.ky or visit www.kingsportscenter.com. King Sports Center, your one-stop shop for fitness, recreation, and relaxation.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today in the studio as we continue, hopefully extending a very warm invitation to come out this evening to the Lions Center. It isn't that our guests are doing it, it's just that they each has a role to play in as we get prepared for tonight. Mm-hmm. So for the next few minutes, Blake Hurlston and Rex Waller stays with us. Can we talk about tonight specifically? But as you guys have been and wish to continue, we can talk more about it. That's about 12 minutes or so left in this particular segment. Blake?
Rex, I think in his head he had most of the names of the bands that are performing. Mm-hmm. If he could share them.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Notch, President Music Association, Impulse Band, Lammy plays with us. So we got Fire Squad, we got Bonafide that came aboard. We got Molly and Brian, Gerald Rankin, Edward Solomon from the Humble and Meat Band. And if there's anybody that I might have missed, apologize for that, but if you could check the compass or one of the posters, your favorite band, you can come and cheer for them tonight.
Right. And it's a free event. What time people should start getting? I mean, gates open.
Boy, I would say if you can go home and change after the 5 o'clock hour, come and hop over with us.
I knew you would say
because I think the police going to close the road off. And like me, I got sprained foot, so I got to be there early because they will have Carmen in by
stretcher.
Yeah, but
so live music starts at what time? 8 o'clock?
Yeah. I'll be looking for those thousands that used to come up years ago. I remember back in 1986, me and Joel Walton did Paris Week song competition, and it didn't have a roof. And that night they recorded 4,000 odd people. Mm-hmm. They were doing overseas and the teenagers there. At the night of the finals, it was 6,000 and something. Mm-hmm. Well, people didn't like the competition and they destroyed it. It went to Treasure Island in 1987. That could only hold 300 something people. They couldn't fill it. They couldn't fill the club. It went in the wrong direction. No encouragement to young people. So, and if they think that, go to the compass and go to the archives and check the papers. So this now is like a comeback to that. We need to find our people, give them a free pass to come in tonight, bring out their loved ones, their children, their kids, whatever. If they're age getting, they won't be able to drink alcohol because that part will still be police. We grew up in an environment where we never touch that stuff till we get up to a certain age. Yeah. Let's respect that. So.
Rex, that's why people like you and Blake, you have not only my respect, but you're respectable people in that. You're respectful, all right? And that's important. So you're saying now, the parents can come up with their children, enjoy the entertainment, to be inspired by the talent that's on stage.
Yeah, that's why we got the young group, Fire Squad, to influence the young people, and they are bad. Bad to the bone.
I watched them perform one day, just doing, I guess, a warm-up, I guess it was, right? And then the other guys, I said, you imagine the legacy and the tradition, the heritage they carry on. I think Susan is sharing that we have a call online. All right, Rex Waller, Blake Hurlston sits with us. Good afternoon, welcome.
Yeah, I heard somebody call up a while ago talking about that all-girls band that they couldn't think the name of.
Yes, sir. I was trying to remember because she reminded us before.
Yeah. But I think it was a Coronation. Coronation.
Yeah,
that's right.
Were they the ones? Yeah, you know what? I remember the caller speaking about it. So the Carnations.
Yeah, I think it was Coronation. I think it was Coronation.
Coronation.
Okay.
Could have been Coronation.
Yeah.
No, well, you're probably right. I think it was Coronation. I think I heard them. I heard the names. I never did see them, but I heard the name.
Well, and they had steel guitar. They had, I think, 1 or 2 steel guitars in the band.
Wow.
So that's something that you all might run through in one ear and leave it between your 2 ears for a while to put in some of the bands. Now, what the heck is his name? I think he's got a steel guitar, and he has been teaching himself to play it.
Will Stewart?
He's a musician, keyboard, or piano player.
Canadian, Will Stewart.
Well, Stuart, yeah.
Oh yeah, well.
He's quite a guy.
we got a young player, Benil Miller. I tell you what, but those guys from Fire Squad, they gonna go far because I don't know which instrument he don't play. But one minute you look on the stage, he's behind the drums. He played the bass and sing. Oh my God!
He's pretty sharp.
Yes, sir.
Did he play the steel?
No steel guitar, but
I wouldn't say no. I'm gonna call him and ask him in a few minutes.
How about the dobro?
I don't know why he don't play. Every time I see him come, he got some instrument that I don't know what it is.
Because you guys are falling behind some of the guys that came before you.
Yeah.
And then he played those instruments. That's right.
And another good instrument that nobody never did picked up. And Mom used to play accordion,
An accordion, yeah.
And an accordion. One person that make that famous is John Mellencamp, John Cougar, whatever you want to call him. He got that in almost every song,
Yeah,
and I don't remember seeing one of them in Cayman since back in the day.
Well, sometimes go online and Google Dick Cantino. Dick Cantino, I think. He was a famous accordion player. Now
that's Reverend a sweet instrument.
Yeah, Reverend Bowman had a accordion in all of her church bands.
That's right.
And a couple of other people, Hopi, played accordion. So did, I think, Darlene Panton. So there was quite a number of accordion players around Cayman. But the banjo,
that's another instrument that's not too popular in the bands in Cayman. I think someone used to play a banjo with the barefoot.
I think the Barnett family in Cayman is one of the families that's kept up some of those playing some of those instruments. They still play them. The banjo and the ukulele and the fiddle, and I think one of them even play a cello, as far as I can remember.
Yeah, and all those things can be integrated into some beautiful sounds. I think Barry, that's all I know him as. I don't know his first name, but he's got a banjo, and he tells me he's been learning.
Oh yeah.
He plays the hell out of that.
He does tambourine as well. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Elon was a great banjo player.
Okay, I didn't know that. I saw him playing guitar. I didn't see that.
And I'm not sure that Mr. Norberg didn't play it also, but he played several instruments. Anyway.
Mr. Norberg played.
Well, those are the new instruments that are being played. I'll tell you what. We got a good lineup tonight. Locks, they want to take this time to invite you if you can make it, because I know I saw you yesterday, but I never got to talk to you. This could be a heck of a show. We got everybody well rehearsed, and we're ready for tonight. We want to blow. If the power god accept it. But
you don't know.
The people that are around me make me strong, and that's Dream, Notch, Errol, Watler, Lamy, his children. Everybody's coming up. We got a wife, Jonathan. They're being nominated by the government. They were nominated by the government. They will be collecting an award for their long time into music and stuff like that. I think this is the beginning, but I think it's going to be a bash. It's the first one of a kind where the government came in and helped, gave a good hand, along with the Music Association and stuff. We got it all together. The time with John's death and Greg's death put a little, we got setback with it, but we got them through, we got those families through, and now we're inviting the greater Cayman to
support,
come for the, be that part of their support tonight.
Yeah, man.
Lovely guys to remember,
Yeah, it sounds great. You say you got government to buy into it a little bit. I think that's a great step forward.
Well, we want it to be annually. We want it to be a calendar day event. We want it to be look forward to a better one next year.
Yes,
all the big guys in music will be remembered someday. You see how fast we're going. But within the date that this one was planned, we lost like 4 musicians.
Yeah.
So it wasn't only John and Greg. We lost Ken Davis and we lost Melvin Augustine.
Well, in your forward thinking, maybe you can go back and present some of these, musicians that came from behind you. Some of them will have to be done posthumously, but there's still some of them alive. Buddy B is still alive.
Yeah, that's why we wanted to kick it off with a good one, you know. Greg had planned this one with me, and he got together mostly on the phone, and we talked about it, and we wanted this one to be the beginning, and we wanted to be, because so much of the guys are old, and some of them have passed away, so it would be hard to get in a performance. So to get a performance from them, you would probably have to add some new musicians to call for time to rehearse and all that. So I think we put together a good one for the night. Molly Young going to be performing. Gerald Rankin, you never heard him probably in years. He rehearsed last night. Sound like a record. And I know Gerald got a lot of fans out there, and he got a lot of them out there. So,
notwithstanding all that happened within the music fraternity over the last, I guess, 2 or 3 months, I think, I did not become aware of what's happening tonight until just a few days ago. So I think forward, you got to do a lot of promotion, because Cayman ain't the way it was before.
Yeah, I know, but I'll tell you, by the death of Greg and John,
that's what I'm saying.
Put us back on the promotions a little bit, because we were too emotional about everything, but we got over that a little bit, and we're going to move on now, and that's why it's free.
Appreciate your advice.
And those thousands of people that you know there, tell them to come down to the Lions Center tonight, and it's going to be a great show.
Yeah.
Well, how Dwayne do a 2-chord promo there for it, and let him sing it, and put it up. All right. Good.
Okay, sir. But thanks. You come you came out to Breakers to see us perform, and that was I don't know how to thank you for that. You know, Cardinal and you still like music. I love him to death. You know, I've done his gospel album with him, and he would come tonight if he could make it, but he says his knees are just too bad.
Yeah. Hey, thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And gents, I know that hopefully going forward we can continue either as individual musicians, as a collective, as members of the music association, or just as invested, involved citizens. We can have this dialogue publicly, promoting the arts, but music in particular, encouraging the young to look at it, but encouraging us as a community, both the public sector and the corporate community, to come on board. But as we close out the discussion,
I think we missed Dexter Bodden, and Backbeat Band is I call it my band, but it's not my band, it's the band I play with that I have formed, myself, Chuckland Hillock, Astor Ebanks, and we'll be backing up on Dexter in a segment as well.
Good country music.
This is so it's quite a mix. It's Caymanian. It's actually portraying Cayman music heritage, if you want to say it that way. It's all mixed, and that's what we are and who we are. And we welcome everyone to come out, share with us. Call it your Christmas gift if you like it. You're not being charged for it. Just come and have us celebrate together. And earlier in the program, Mr. heard some frustrations in the voice of Mr. Watler, but there's reasons for that, and there is a breakdown between the Music Association and the fraternity, or the fraternities and venues that have license for music and dance. And I'm not going to blame anybody for that. The Music Association is run by people who are volunteers. It's a big job. I've been the president, vice president, treasurer, secretary. I've been through the whole works, and it's not an easy job. And what Rex is doing now is something that we should have done a long time ago, is that take this part of the responsibilities and take it on our own, work with it with the blessings of Music Association, and we do a corporate thing. And this is what we're looking for to happen in the future, forward from this day on.
Right. Well, tonight is the night. As Susan was saying, it's free admission, so we'll sponsor the first 500 people to get in. Okay. It's free tonight, right, Mr. Rexy?
Oh, it's free. If you can hire a Webster bus or somebody to bring your family,
go right ahead.
Go right ahead.
Lion Center.
And when you're coming in the gate and you see a little bucket, just drop something if you can afford it.
Yeah, man.
And appreciate it.
That's all we ask.
And I want to say thanks to Dwayne Seymour, the Minister of Culture. He makes everything possible that he put his hand on. So he's hard at work at all time. I don't know how he find the time to do these things, I tell you the truth. But thanks again to all the people who, Errol, for giving all the information about MOJ and being the manager of those guys who kept people like me. And Adelaine, don't forget Adelaine and Bonnie Miles and them will be there because, oh my God, we watched them play the nights through the window. That's why I'm a musician today.
Yeah, man.
I got to remember those guys. Somebody called me up this morning and said, the guy there with the white beards, can he still go down on the ground? I say, would you believe Adelaine can still squat?
That's why he can still squat.
Oh, yeah, he's still good. He's still good. Boy, Bunny and him, they love live music. I'm telling you, they will get everybody to come out to their events, whatever they can do. Right. And you know, Dexter, he do real. I mean, you got to be from Nashville to be better than Dexter. Yeah, honestly, Dexter can play country.
And this is why tonight I think it's important. And so as you share. And thanks for reminding us. Thanks for extending the invitation. Hopefully the sound check goes as you expect.
Yeah,
Mr. Rex.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Gents, enjoy it. Have fun tonight above all, you know.
We will.
Thank you, and thanks for having us.
It's a pleasure.
And we're inviting the whole of Radio Cayman. If they got cut, make the computers run the station. Cut it off.
Broadcast it live. Maybe we could do
that. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. All right. Let's pause and take a break, though. When we come back, we've got some other things to share with you that are just as important. So please stay tuned for Talk Today.
You remember the sale at Vant Motors?
Yeah, the Your Sale, Your Choice, the one where you can get cash back or can put the savings to extend the warranty or upgrade features?
Yes, it's still going on, but now you can get $8,000 off a new Ford Ranger truck. $8,000, you know?
You for real?
Come see for yourself. While they still have so much to choose from, save big during Your Sale, Your Choice at Vant Motors. With almost every vehicle on sale, you decide whether to get your dream ride at its lowest price. Take cash back, add years to the warranty or service plan. Choose an add-on or mix your options. Your sale, your choice, because you know what you need, and Vant Motors will help you drive it home. Vant Motors on Walkers Road.
South Coast Bar and Grill up in Breakers, man, that is the place. For traditional Cayman cuisine, oh, you will love the taste. At South Coast Bar and Grill, we got conch and lobster and turtle stew. And every Sunday come out with your family for the barbecue.
South Coast Bar and Grill by the seaside, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. daily, lunch and dinner. Call us at 947-2517.
For Cayman and cuisine, the talk today is South Coast Bar and Grill.
It's Christmas fun for all with the Flow Quad Play bundle for a year and weekly draws for Samsung soundbars. To win, sign up for any Flow service, including our new Quad Play bundle. Top up $25 or more, or pay your bill on time and in full. Our Quad Play bundle is filled with the fastest broadband, HD quality Flow Evo TV, excellent mobile call quality, and home phone with up to 2,800 international minutes. With over $40,000 in prizes, that's fun for all with Flow. Visit discoverflow.ky for more. Terms and conditions apply.
Christmas is coming early this year at Brand Source, just in time to spruce up your home with a fresh new look for the holidays. Come early morning, Saturday, December 8th, for the best discount. Save big with 25% off store-wide from 8 a.m. to noon on appliances, mattresses, bathroom fixtures, vanities, custom closets, and kitchen cabinets. From noon until close, get 15% off. So come early and save more. Saturday, December 8th at the pre-Christmas sale event at Brand Source Home Gallery, Industrial Park.
Having a party at the beach or a team building exercise at the park? Reserving your cabana is easy with the Public Works Department online booking system. Create your account and use the online calendar to pick your desired date and facility. You can even pick the cabana you want to use. Look for your confirmation email, print it off, and bring it with you as proof of reservation. Enjoying our natural environment has never been so easy. Visit www.eservices.gov.ky to book your cabana today.
We are Radio Cayman, and this is how we wake you up in the morning. Praise time on Radio Cayman.
Sing your praise to the Lord. Come on, everybody, stand up and sing one more. Hallelujah, give your praise to the Lord. We are united in Jesus Christ. We are the soldiers of the land.
Praise time.
Weekday mornings from 6 until 6:30.
There's a meeting up in heaven. Roll call. It's your name in the Lamb's Book of Life. Roll call, brother, sister.
Praise Time.
Jesus in the morning, yeah.
Weekday mornings from 6 until 6:30.
Your song flowed through my lips. Your work moved through my hands. Your thoughts stay on my mind. Live in me.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
On a daily basis, making it easy to connect with you, our listeners. Add us to WhatsApp today, 925-3261. That's 925-3261.
Radio Cayman.
Send a text or voice note.
Can I send a request, please?
You don't really have to ask us. Just send a request.
This is a shout out to my ex.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. Thanks so much for joining us. And as we get into our next segment, again, perhaps extend on behalf of Mr. Rex Watler and team an invitation to the country. It's a free event, but not just because it's free, it's what it's symbolizing. Come out, to the celebration this evening, the festivities over the Lions Center, and to see the local talent, to be a part of the, international visiting artists as they share. And I think as I have good company now to speak, Mr. Paulinus, the head of compliance over the general registry. I think the only missing component now is your colleague and confidant. To see you, not him, is almost like seeing him, not you.
We're usually a team.
Yeah. And it's true that teamwork, whether it's, the two football players working the wings in order to get it to the striker, or whether it's, those two who may decide that in the Legislative Assembly or in the Senate or wherever House of Parliament that they operate, one sponsor and one second.
Of course.
It takes a team.
Of course,
right?
definitely.
Not unlike the spouses who work together, not unlike the business partners who decide that, you look after one aspect of the business, I look after the other.
Mm-hmm.
That cook, the chef, or whatever you want to call it in the kitchen, the food isn't as good unless the waiter, the server brings it to the table with that love.
Exactly.
The team.
Team approach.
All right. This team approach, and when we look at our legislation, as we talk about non-profit organizations and some of the things, as we will get into that now, in charities and banking and the like.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Innes, you and your team have done a phenomenal job in giving us information, assisting us as charities and non-profits in how to get compliant, but also how to continue our operations that they become efficient and effective.
Yes.
So I always invite you to share with us. I prepare as much as I can beforehand, but I always leave learning more. So good teamwork.
For sure. Well, first of all, thank you for having us, or having me again.
It's us again.
It's still us. Wilbur's missing. There was another co-worker who was supposed to join me, but because of her dedication, she got caught up dealing with another customer, so unfortunately, she wasn't able to make it.
Mm-hmm.
But first of all, on behalf of the registrar, let me just express a sincere thank you for having us on the show today, to further share with the good people of our islands.
As I listen to it, and I recognize that, the Financial Services Ministry, whether it's the sort of corporate relations, public relations aspect and on that make sure that the press releases, the media kits or what have you, get out to the wider public can benefit from it. But it's the willingness of you and your team to come and share directly and immediately, very timely information. You are, perhaps an operating charity and you want to make sure things happen. Many of us, whether we like it or not, are becoming expectant that when we go to our financial services providers, that there are things that we're going to have to provide, sometimes on a very regular basis,
right,
just to make sure that we can continue operations, not unlike what the charities face.
Yes. Well, first of all, the outreach program on the part of the ministry and the general registry is just part and parcel of the deputy governor's vision of us being a world-class civil service.
Indeed.
And we recognize that in order to achieve that standard, we must continually educate and work in partnership with the community. So these outreach programs is just a small portion of the entire framework in us achieving that objective of being a world-class civil service.
From that perspective, then, I think many people understand that if a piece of legislation is either introduced or amended, there's a consequence to that.
Yes.
Perhaps what many people don't appreciate that whatever that thing is that happens, there is a knock-on effect, irrespective of the intent.
Right.
It may be that we want to make it streamlined so it's more efficient and effective. It may be that we're required because of international sort of obligations that, hey, like it or lump it, this is what has to happen.
Yes.
But there's also an element that needs to be sort of respected. And, you can't do one thing, as they say, you don't cut off your nose to spite your face, right?
No.
But in this respect, the operating charities has a banking relationship.
Yes.
Tell us where we are with that, and how do we make sure that we're as much as possible catering to everybody and all the needs.
Right. So just let me put it all into context, Sterling. We have international obligations which mandates that we have a supervisory regime in place to monitor and supervise the non-profit organizations.
Mm-hmm.
This regime falls within the anti-money laundering and countering the finance of terrorism framework that the jurisdiction has to comply with. Again, because of international requirements.
Mm-hmm.
We've since made some amendments to the legislation that further allow us now to have a better understanding of how the NPOs are operating. And it also provides the registrar with additional powers to do investigations, to include on-site inspections, off-site inspections. Again, all in keeping with ensuring that we satisfy the international requirements.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the banks play an integral role in this whole process, and they also have their standards, the internal policies and procedures to ensure that they have all the internal processes to understand how the NPOs operate, because they're the ones who will bank their finance, they're the ones who will hold their money. So they have an obligation to understand the type of purpose and objectives that the NPOs are. How is it that they are making their money? Who is it that's giving them their money? What the money is being used for? Because again, they need the risk of doing business with the NPOs lie with them. So they have to satisfy that both domestic and international standard to ensure that their institution is not being caught up within nefarious activities as it relates to money laundering or financing of terrorism.
And it may not necessarily, but it should not be assumed that it isn't. There could be activities here, as innocuous as they may look. They may or may not be operating here, but because it's involving our jurisdiction, our financial service providers, we're impacted and affected by it.
Of course.
All right. For the local entity, that
right.
For the most part, the local NPO that is operational here, that we probably are aware because we volunteer. Perhaps we are part of the running of that thing. Perhaps we contribute in some way. It may be a $5 contribution, it may be a $5 million contribution,
yes.
Whatever the case is. How is that affected in the sense as that organization engages with this financial service provider?
Well, first of all, let's go to the starting point, as I usually like to say. The risks associated with the NPOs in the Cayman Islands as it relates to vulnerabilities to finance and terrorism and money laundering is low. And that risk is based primarily on the fact that most, if not all, of the NPOs primarily get their funding from legitimate sources.
Right.
And these legitimate sources provide money that comes from a legitimate means. So that in itself makes the financial risk associated with the NPOs low. What the NPOs are now required to do to satisfy the bank that the money that they're bringing to the bank is legitimate money. The bank is asking the MPOs to have an understanding of where they get their money from and who they get their money from, so that when they bring the money to them or when they open the bank account, they are in a position to answer these basic questions. Now, some institutions, we don't govern how banks determine who they will accept as a customer or who they will not accept as a customer. Some entities ask more questions than others. But at the end of the day, when we register an MPO, we assist the MPO then in getting a bank account because we have an understanding of what the bank is going to ask for. They're going to ask for information as it relates to who is in control of the MPO and who makes up the board. That's one.
Okay.
They're going to ask, where is this money come from? Do you as an MPO understand where your money is coming from? They're going to ask, what type of activities are you undertaking by which you generate money? These basic questions. So as long as the MPO is in a position to answer those questions and have that basic framework together, we don't foresee them having any issues with opening a bank account.
But were these not things that even sort of before these initial discussions, part and parcel that were required as the NPO was being sort of formalized?
Of course, definitely.
Right. So having that to hand then should facilitate, as you said.
Exactly.
All right. Were there then particular things from the banks, just generally speaking, perspective,
right,
where they needed clarity? Are there any particular questions or concerns or areas that they wanted to ensure that they were fully cognizant of as a relation to their continued operation within NPO, or even the opening of new accounts for a new NPO?
Well, during our dialogue with the banks, again, the banks are, their concern, it has to do with the risk and the risk exposure to anti-money laundering and financial terrorism. So the same question, it goes back to the fundamentals that I just spoke about.
Yeah.
Who's in charge of these nonprofits? How you're going to make your money? Where you're getting your money from? And more importantly, what are you going to do with it? Because you need to understand that not only do you have to have controls surrounding how you get your money, but more so how you distribute your money, because you don't want to be caught up unwittingly in providing money to somebody who is going to use it for a bad act, right? So that is important as well. So the banks have been doing a really good job working with the NPOs, requesting this information, working with them and understanding, well, this is the reason why we need this information. So it's been from our perspective, it has been a good process so far. There are some institutions that may ask a little more questions, and because of the fact that the whole process is new and persons have never been required to answer these questions before, sometimes it may become a bit onerous or laborious, or to use a simple word, it becomes a little burdensome. But we need to understand that the financial institutions have their individual obligations to ensure that their risk profile, their internal policies and procedures are complied with.
Now, as you're speaking to Mr. Paul in this, the HIDA compliance over general registrations, we're looking at, the sort of the non-profit organizations, legislation, and the fact that banks, in a sense, many of us lament, banking isn't the same, either as a customer or even as the employee. That relationship from the onset of the early days of the legislation, whether we want to call it KYC or understanding social wealth, things are changing. Right? You can get into why and how and when and what, but the fact is,
things have changed.
Yeah. Right? And here in our jurisdiction, perhaps maybe because of disinformation or misinformation, whether it's deliberate or malicious, we as a jurisdiction need to be very, very cognizant that we're always, perceived as best as we can to be in the best light.
Of course.
I don't believe there's anybody who operates in a jurisdiction that isn't of the view that we are stellar in our actions, that what our legislation represents, what our partners in the sector do, it's far and greater than
of course,
any competitor,
without a doubt.
And that's a testament both to the policies and the legislation that we've implemented, to the practitioners in the sector,
yep,
but equally to us as customers' willingness to be compliant.
Yes.
Sometimes if we may even figure, well, I just gave you my driver's license last year.
Exactly.
Well, you see, it's expiring, so we need to give it to you again.
Yes.
It can be onerous at times,
yes,
but it isn't, that cumbersome, is it? From there, though, Mr. Dennis, the wider public that is working, and for that individual who is perhaps part of one of the local NPOs,
yes,
either as a member or either as an active volunteer, or even as someone who says, because Christmas is coming up, for instance, and many individuals and organizations will very deliberately, very considerately provide some funding to these organizations because they're proud of what they do.
Yes.
And it makes them feel good too.
Of course.
Any particular thing that we would need to know to ensure that that contribution doesn't, present a unnecessary challenge for the NPO.
Right. I think the first thing that I ask anybody when they come and ask me for a donation is, are you registered? That's the first question. Because believe it or not, Sterling, we still have some entities out there that aren't registered.
Yeah.
And we're going to be working soon to reach out to them, because the law speaks of a $500 fine and then $10 up to $3,000. So there are many entities out there who are currently in that stratosphere. So the first question I ask is, are you registered? And then I ask, well, what's the donation for? What is it you're going to do with it? And that would depend on the type of entity that I'm dealing with. Obviously, there are reputable entities out there that have been operating in the island for a substantial amount of time. People that you've donated towards before. People that has provided evidence that they put your money to good work. Our concern, however, is on the part of the NPO, and they need to ensure, especially at this time of the year, that they're not duped in being defrauded, especially with these online applications, things like crowdfunding, people approaching them online asking for help out of the blue. We advocate for NPOs and those who run the NPOs to do their checks and balances to ensure that they have a full understanding of what is it they're donating towards, what is it that they're funding. In particular, if it is going off of island. It is very easy on island to know who you are and to know who you're giving and for what purpose. But we ask entities out there, especially this time of the year, to be particularly careful when they are getting involved in providing funding to anything that is not in the Cayman Islands but is taking place elsewhere. Do your checks and balances.
And as I listen to you, there are even individuals who are either actively involved and have been so with some, sort of charities, NPOs. For those entities, they need now to make sure that they're formalized and properly registered. Because going forward, not only the penalties, but their credibility, their viability, as it were. The banks, as I understand it, are going to require, as part of their due diligence and vetting process, well, do you have this thing? Not
exactly.
Unlike the licensing regimes that exist for businesses, if you don't, renew your license or get a license, you operate outside of the law, subject to perhaps penalties and all sorts of other actions as well.
Right.
Is it then that those of us who haven't quite got on board yet and heard the message, and again I commend you and your team for being so stellar and making sure that almost daily, but certainly on a weekly basis, you are disseminating information, making yourselves readily available to help out the various charities. Is it still if I may ask respectfully, a perspective that there's a reticence on the part of some of us to become compliant, to get registered, to go through the process, whether it's the paperwork, the submitting the documentation, whatever it is, to get registered and formalized?
Well, for some reason, Sterling, there are still some entities on the island that have not registered. We have some professional associations that have not registered. And I do believe in their sense, there seems to be a misunderstanding of what the law says and who is exempted from registering. But a recent amendment to the MPA law now makes it abundantly clear who is exempted and who is not. Mm-hmm. So when this amendment is formally rolled out, we would expect then that no longer can entities use it as an excuse that, according to them, they are exempted. We also have some other institutions. As I drive around on Sunday and I visit some spots because, we need to understand what's happening, right? Mm-hmm. So I drive around on Sundays and I visit some spots, and I've noticed that there are some people who are hosting congregations. There are people who are gathered, taking part in certain activities. But when they look on the door and they see the names, those names are not appearing on our list of registered MPOs. And I keep asking, but why? I mean, based on the amount of public outreach that we have done, it is still amazing to see that there are many small to medium-sized organizations with people who congregate on Sundays who aren't registered. And ironically, those are the ones who can't afford to be fined, right? Because they're very small. And by no means are we trying to in any way dissuade the particular type of activity that's taking place. We're simply saying that you have to be registered.
Right.
And we still have too much, in my view. There are too much of those particular entities that are not registered and are still operating on the island.
Right.
So
when we come back from the news, you have some more time with us.
Oh, yeah.
I know you guys make yourselves readily available as you speak to
sure.
Mr. Paulinus. That amendment that you referenced to the already new legislation and the potential exemptions, maybe we can talk more about it.
Sure.
The nature of becoming compliant and getting registered and the like. If you have a question, and if you even want to question what's the relevance of this conversation, well, if you don't ask a question, we won't quite sure whether you're thinking it right. The answer you get might be one that it might be one that you're unexpected, but hey, 949-8037 is the one number to call. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Satisfaction is guaranteed 24 hours a day, whether it's music or information.
From Grand Cayman to Cayman Brac to Little Cayman, we've got you covered.
You ever hear a thing like that?
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman. Headline. Radio Cayman's newsroom. Headline. These are the biggest stories right now.
Celebrations teams up with the Cayman Heart Fund for a special Christmas time fundraiser. For every donation made in store, Celebrations Limited will match respective donations to help raise funds to prevent and reduce early deaths, long-term disabilities, and widespread suffering that the heart and circulatory diseases may cause. The Cayman Heart Fund is a non-profit, non-government organization dedicated to the reduction of heart and circulatory diseases in the Cayman Islands. Good afternoon, I'm Dion Anglin with your headlines. In news elsewhere, English yachtswoman Susie Goodall has been rescued by a 40,000-ton cargo ship in stormy conditions 2 days after her boat violently capsized 2,000 miles west of Cape Horn during the Golden Globe race. The 29-year-old lost her mast after her boat pitch-poled during the non-stop solo-round-the-world race. China is about to launch the first mission to land robotic craft on the far side of the moon. The Chang'e 4 mission will see a static lander and rover touch down in Von Karman crater located on the side of the moon which never faces Earth. The mission will pave the way for the country to deliver samples of moon rock and soil to Earth. And U.S. comedian and actor Kevin Hart says he has stepped down from hosting the 2019 Oscars following a controversy over homophobic tweets. He said he did not want to be a distraction and that he was sorry he had hurt people. The choice of Hart for host was only announced on Tuesday. That's a wrap of your headlines. I'm Dion Anglin.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
Stay connected and enjoy your favorite holiday moments with Flow. Make Christmas memories great with the best phones at amazing holiday prices. Get the Samsung Galaxy A8 from $43.25 a month or the S9 from $70.75 a month from Flow. Sign up for Flow Quad Play to share up to 50 gigs of data and 5,000 calling minutes. It's amazing value and great gifts for loved ones or yourself. Plus, plenty of chances to win Flow holiday prizes. So make it Flow for everything mobile this Christmas. Visit discoverflow.ky for more. Terms and conditions apply.
Hello, I'm Arthur Ebanks.
And I'm Angela Ebanks, owners of Savannah Pharmacy.
On behalf of the entire Savannah Pharmacy family, we would like to wish all of our Cayman families a very Merry Christmas and safe and prosperous New Year.
Remember, we're always just around the corner in Countryside Shopping Village with everything your family needs this holiday season. We look forward to continuing to serve you and your loved ones throughout 2019.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. In the studio, Mr. Paul Innes joins us, and as we're talking about the non-profit, sort of organization and the idea that people, for the most part, I believe, want to do the right thing. For the most part. Some of us, we'll give it a 6 for 9 and be happy about it. What things, as you were sharing prior to the break, we were asking about maybe confusion, maybe whatever it is. Help us to understand, because you're eloquent, but also very diplomatic. Huh? Unlike some of us. Huh?
Yeah. There are still some entities out there that need to register, and we're going to make a final pitch to them that they need to get registered because based on the fact that we've done all the outreach programs, we are ready to take it to the enforcement stage. Because we can only give you so much time, right? Because the law is there for a reason. So far, we have 426 entities who have made the decision to register and are compliant. And they are reaping the benefits of being registered because, as we speak, we are in the process of updating our list to post on our website, so that is free and international advertisement to whoever goes on the website to see the list of registered NPOs. For sure, we know that corporate Cayman is requesting from these entities whenever they are providing sponsorship, well, are you registered? And they're in a position to show registration by virtue of their certificate of registration. So there are benefits. But for some reason, unknown to us, there are entities out there who have still not registered. And we know that there are some sporting organizations that have not registered, some religious entities that have not registered, some professional organizations that have not registered. And we're asking and sending one final pitch and one final appeal to these entities to get registered because we just made some amendments to the law that gives the registrar the power now to initiate an investigation. She can have an investigation conducted, and we can conduct civil penalties, and if necessary, we can escalate it to the financial crime unit to conduct a financial investigation from which criminal charges will be preferred. The amendments to the law also allow for us to do further outreach programs. We can now garner more information from you to assist because as part of our international requirements, we are supposed to set up what is known as a risk-based supervisory regime. That is, those entities that are more riskier, we focus on them and leave the ones that aren't risky alone to do their business. But again, based on our analysis so far, the amounts that we would categorize as high risk would be far and few.
All right. Let's ask the question in reverse almost. Because I remember, and perhaps most of us would recall, there's almost an extensive, exhaustive list as to what types of entities and activities should be registered to be compliant with legislation. But let's ask it another way. with the proposed amendments, 2 questions. When are they going to take effect? And when they do, what entities or types of activities will sort of be excluded from having to get registered? Would that be easier to ask it that way?
Yeah, well, those that will be exempted, the law speaks to those who will be exempted will be those entities that are managed by a licensed trust and corporate service. That is to say, for trust, those NPOs that are operating as a trust would be exempted from registering on the basis of the fact that they are licensed by a already licensed trust company, which is supervised by the Cayman Islands Monetary Authority.
Okay.
That's basically the only exemption.
So,
and government entities.
Okay, government entities.
Yes.
Okay.
But not just any government entities that how would I put it? A government entity that is primarily run by the government, because obviously if it is run by the government, it will have all the checks and balances. The source of funds will be funded by the government. But you are exempted from registering, but you aren't required to register. That doesn't make any sense. So, like for example, the National Job Council, there is a government entity, and they have made the decision to register. Yeah. So I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I can see why they would. I can understand why it's not necessarily to.
Exactly.
To that entity that is, say, some foundation, for want of a better word, that is being managed by a particular trust company. So, and that's set up and back in the day when I remember a little bit about how that thing worked.
Right.
That's separate and apart because there's separate legislation, monetary authority.
Yes.
Hopefully, all the due diligence and all the things as the trust is settled, and like that's okay. But the entity, whether it's an individual or whether it's a group of individuals who are out there doing something, maybe once a year they believe that it would be beneficial to host a party for a particular segment of society.
Right.
And they're soliciting funds from the public to assist in this thing. That should be registered.
Yes, as long as it's not a one-off event. So if it's an annual event, if it is that you do this every year, then it's not a one-off event, but then you have to be registered.
It's maybe only done once, but it's done once with every year.
Yes.
Right? Okay. And I hopefully people don't believe we're trying to belabor it, but it's not a one-off. It's not a case where a bunch of us in the office realized that a colleague became cognizant of something that happened and let's jump in to assist.
Exactly.
That's different.
That's totally different.
The same group may get together to assist something differently another time. One-off. That's different.
Yes.
You see the associations. So a group of talk show hosts or radio personalities decide to organize.
Yes.
And that should be registered as lawyers, doctors, accountants.
As long as you solicit funds from the public.
Right. Not from your own membership.
If it's your own membership, but then you aren't required to register. But from the time you make the decision to get money from anybody outside of your inner core, well then you fit the definition.
The exemptions and those who will be exempted. Any others? You gave us a list, but any others? Well, by default, if you're not exempted, then therefore you should be registered.
Yes.
So any other exemptions?
No, because the law makes it abundantly clear now who those are the entities that are exempted.
With the greatest respect, I did not look at the latest list before we came on air.
Yes.
I have not committed the list to memory. I don't think that I will. I mean, I don't think I need to because it's right there.
Yeah.
And you guys update it frequently.
Yes.
So if I want to know, it's there.
Yes.
If there's a particular charity, if I can use that term, any period is operational, whether it's been around for a long, long time or whether it's just recently, it should be registered if it's doing what you say it's doing.
Yes.
Okay.
It is required to be registered and it should be registered.
Okay, fair enough. Come back maybe ask that again, but we do have a call online. We have in the studio the head of compliance over at General Registry, Mr. Paul Innes. Yeah, I know some of you keep saying, where's Mr. Wilbur? Well, he's here in person, even though he's not here in person.
Wilbur sent me today.
Let's go to the phones, Mr. Paul. Hey, good afternoon. You're on Talk Today.
Good afternoon, Sterling.
Good afternoon, ma'am. How are you today?
Good afternoon. Fine. Good afternoon, Mr. Paul.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I have a stupid question to ask you.
There's nothing called a stupid question. You go ahead.
I did a water drive a couple of years ago. And due to illness, I had to stop for an extent. But last year, I did a homeless drive and some senior citizens donating some goods to them during the Christmas holidays.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, I want to know, am I breaching anything in that department there with your organizations and so forth? Because when I first started the water drive, I had Royal Bank who wanted to pick me up. I didn't have no organization. And another bank wanted to pick me up, and I had no organization. And a couple other companies want to pick me up. But I never had an organization. It was just me, was my idea. And I got friends came along and helped me distribute the water at the water stop. And a lot of people gave water to me to give to my people of the island. So I wanted to know, I don't know if it was right for me to call and ask you this question, but I just wanted to know if I'm doing something wrong or when it comes to the law.
Well, first of all, you're not doing something wrong. You're doing something exceptionally well. So because you're providing to the needy. So that's an exceptional part. That's an exceptional conduct on your part. In terms of registering, is it water that you only collect, or are you collecting anything else from these entities?
No, just I was just doing a water drive, but the water drive is not fully operational right now. Just a small amount here and there. Once in a while, someone calls for water. But I'm getting ready to do the Christmas drive now for some senior citizens and some homeless people by giving some food, and some personal hygiene stuff, and probably some clothes, whatever the case may be. I had household people who's interested in putting stuff together to give me, so I can make up a few bags to give up for the holidays.
Okay. And is it something that you intend to do all year round, or you want to do it every Christmas?
Just at Christmas time.
Just at Christmas time.
And the water, I'm not sure yet how I'm going to do that yet. I would like to get back next year, but I'm not sure how we're going to do the water.
Okay.
If I was to do the water, it'll probably be a couple of months of the year.
So do you intend to collect cash from anybody, or will you keep it to?
No. I don't want to cash from nobody.
You're not going to collect cash?
No. I don't want to deal with that.
Okay, well, based on what you were saying so far, it may not be absolutely necessary for you to register, but I'll tell you why it will be beneficial for you to register. Because if you're registered now as a nonprofit organization, you have the benefits of taking your registration and appealing to any member of Corporate Cayman to provide you with funding or to provide you with supplies that you can broaden your scope and provide more help to the needy. And the registration process is not very difficult. It's a very simple process. We have staff that sit with you and we provide you with all the documentation. You can even come into general registry and we can sit you in front of the computer and have you registered online. So even though based off of what you've said so far, you may not definitively fit the definition for registration, I would still encourage you to register because you will be provided with a substantial amount of benefits to further your cause and to assist you in continuing to do the fantastic work that you're doing.
So do I have to have a group of people with me to have this to get this organization going?
No, ma'am. You can register as a sole trader under the structure of an unincorporated body of persons.
Okay.
So by all means, you can speak to me off air. I can give my contact details to Sterling, or you can take it down now if you want. You can call me.
1 second. Yeah, let me.
Yeah, and this is while she gets this is what I like with you and your team. You were willing to be accessible to the general public, and with respect to you and your team, I think that speaks to what the civil service is and civil servants in general. Here's the number at the desk. Here's where the desk is located.
Yep.
Come in and we can assist you.
And be ready.
And it's so true.
Man, we're always ready to help, Sterling.
All right. Are you ready for the number, Mom?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll give you several numbers. So we have 925-8810.
8810?
Yeah, that's my work cell. And my desk number is 244-3135. Or you can send me an email at Paul, Paul, .INNISS @gov.ky.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
You come in and see us, and we will get you up and running, without a doubt.
Oh, yeah, Mr. Paul, I'll give you a call. I don't think I'll do it for the rest of this year, but I'll get in touch with you.
No problem, ma'am.
I got a lot of work to do, so.
But we're here for you.
I got to feed some people.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we applaud you for that fantastic work.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Have a good day, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. And as I listen to you, that idea, well, perhaps maybe I first ask, because there are still many of us, I think the caller highlighted within the context, some of us very quickly, irrespective of age or sort of where we are in relation to our use of technology, we'll quickly jump online and type in and send an email or go online. But there are some of us, again, irrespective of age or where we have technology, we like that phone call, we like that face-to-face, right?
Yeah, man.
The general register is located in a $100 million new building next door, right?
On the ground floor, yes, sir.
So you come in there and you got it. That's a significant investment where we're housing all the services and for people to come in. Maybe part of the, if you don't mind, part of the Celebrate Cayman initiative. When you come in and you do your business, take a few seconds, walk to your left and see the Celebrate Cayman.
Of course.
But all the lines are right at the front there with the different signs telling you which agency in government you can come and make a first point of contact. Relatively accessible, relatively easy, super friendly staff that guide you.
For sure.
All right. One final break, short break. When you come back, give us not just a recap, but maybe preview some of the things that are important in relation to the general registry and compliance for NPOs.
Yes, sir.
All right. Paulinus will remain with us for a few more minutes. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
A trip to New York City is the experience of a lifetime. Starting this December, Cayman Airways will be offering daily non-stop flights from Grand Cayman to New York City. That's right, Cayman Airways is going daily to New York City starting this December. Stroll through Central Park or take in the bright lights of Times Square, enjoy a Broadway show or visit museums, the Empire State Building, and so much more. Whether you're visiting for business or pleasure, you'll fall in love with New York City. And daily non-stop flights from Grand Cayman aboard Cayman Airways starting this December. For details and to book, call Cayman Airways reservations at 949-2311. Contact a travel agent or visit CaymanAirways.com. This is Cayman Up Close, a weekly special feature from Radio Cayman News.
I'm Shanda Gallego.
Shanda Gallego goes behind the scenes with Cayman's newsmakers, artists, and emerging talent to get their unique and personal experience, their real story.
This week, we turn the spotlight.
Sundays at noon, 6:10 p.m. and 10:10 p.m. and always online at radiocayman.gov.ky. Tune in for Cayman Up Close this weekend.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
On a daily basis, making it easy to connect with you, our listeners. Add us to WhatsApp today, 925-3261. That's 925-3261.
Radio Cayman.
Send a text or voice note.
Can I send a request, please?
You don't really have to ask us. Just send a request.
This is a shout out to my ex.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
Talk today.
But I do have some questions.
Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. Thank you for joining us, and certainly true privilege and pleasure to sit here. And today, in particular, the good company of Paul Innes, as in his capacity as the head of compliance in our general registry.
It's a pleasure being here, Sterling, for sure.
Yeah, man. Thank you. And I say thanks not just as a proud civil servant, but the fact that as a wider community and as members of our community who get involved with we call our charities, the non-profits that exist. We sit on their boards, we volunteer, we make contributions, some very publicly and some very privately.
Of course.
Right? And to see the good work collectively is being done. But for some, there may be challenges, perhaps indirectly, perhaps unintended, when we come to we've collected money, and we got into our banks, and our banks are saying, well, can you give me this, can you give me that?
Yes.
Once we know that we have that in place and the reasons why, we become better able to manage the affairs.
Yes.
For that, Mr. Innes, when we're looking at it now, and as we talk about this, the obvious importance of being compliant internationally to ensure that we're not deliberately or inadvertently, contributing to terror financing and money laundering and all other ills that we see, plague our societies these days.
Yeah.
But we just want to get around our business too, so we don't want to be hassled and harassed and feel like we're being overburdened.
Right.
Where's that balance?
Well, that's why we are here.
Yes.
We are here as a supervisor to maintain that equilibrium between the NPO sector and the banking sector. Because very often the bank makes a requirement on the part of the applicant, which is an NPO, and they then come to us, well, the bank want this and the bank want that, and the bank, and we say, okay, we understand what's going on, we understand why the bank is asking this information, and we sit with clients, or very, very often convey with clients via email, well, this is the reason why the bank wants this, because these are the reasons, these are the questions that the bank need answered, and we provide them with more than enough details for the banks.
Just generally speaking, I know it's relative and it's also a matter of perspective. You know, they may say one man's meat is another man's poison, but generally speaking, with great respect, is the request for that thing that the banks are asking for unduly cumbersome or unreasonable, or are they just part and parcel, par for the course these days? The IDs, the source, this. Are they unreasonable and perhaps cumbersome?
I don't think it's unreasonable on the part of the financial institutions to request the information from the NPO. I think what happens sometimes is the fact that there are two things sometimes happens in the sense that the bank does not fully understand the purpose and activity of the NPO, and based on the requirements from the bank, the NPO tend not to fully understand, well, what is it that the bank really want.
Maybe this may help. If nothing else, it may confuse people and they start to ask questions. I don't know the specifics. I don't recall the details, but what you said just reminded me. A long time ago, I think prior to Hurricane Ivan, there was a business that was in operation, presumably, and it was doing well, and it had to provide the bank with sort of its expected flow of funds on a daily, weekly, month, whatever it is basis, right? And years passed, the business expanded, it grew, it got more, locations, whatever the case is, and hired more staff and advertised more. So there's no question that the business seems to be, legit, bona fide, operational, everyone's happy. And when they, presumably, as I understand the story, somebody at the bank say, oh, by the way, we see activities increase. Say, last 10 years I've been putting more money in. Well, nobody had updated the bank, with respect that, we don't have one location, we have now 1,000.
Right.
We don't have one employee, we got 1 million.
Right.
And even though everybody knew that this thing was operational, nobody had a bit of paper to say, well, this is it. So yes, you're not making a daily deposit of $100, now you're making a daily deposit of $1 billion.
Right.
So being from that operational end of the entity, business or NGO or NPO, you need to make sure that you're providing your financial institution with information.
Of course.
And
that's really what it is. The bank getting the information from the NPO to fully understand the type of NPO, the type of purpose and activities, and then having a good understanding of the funding flow that will come in.
That's it.
Yeah.
So, banks, I think sometimes justifiably we can beat up on them and call them all sorts of things, but
we got some good banks here.
Yeah. But if we maintain a relationship and speak with them, and maybe they're just misunderstand and misinformed because we fail to do so. Maybe it's whatever it is, but having that dialogue, we can get there if we work in partnership.
And at the end of the day, that's exactly what happens. When we put the two people together with the right level of communication, it all works so well.
All right. Something you said, and I hope I didn't misunderstand, but I don't think I did. The fact that within your general registry, within you and your team, there's a resource that the NPOs can come to and say, okay, I need to be able to do this. I'm asked to provide this.
Yes.
How can I go about it? It would appear that just getting registered would already satisfy almost all of the potential asks of the banks. You're making it work easier for us, man.
Yeah, man. We because again we have people on staff that fully understand what is it and why the bank asks for what they ask for. So we're in a position then to explain to the NPO, well, look, this is the reason for this request. This is what is going on. This is the reason why you need to provide this information.
And this will be just for emphasis and clarity, for an existing established entity that may already enjoy a banking relationship with that particular financial institution, or a relatively new entity.
Of course.
Okay. And again, perhaps if I could make an appeal, if you're operating as an NPO, as a charity, and you're not yet gone through, the process, it's only to your benefit to do so.
Yeah, you need to get registered.
Get registered.
Without a doubt.
All right. Well, I'm hopeful that in the new year, unless you and your team determine, you to do it beforehand, come on and help us to make the appeal, to share the information.
Of course.
To remind people that there are different processes that they can go. You mentioned to the caller prior to Unincorporated Association, but there's also the company format as well, and other aspects and the benefits as to do so. I won't pretend to repeat them, even though I may recall them. Because,
And quickly, if I may mention, the legislators now even made it even easier, because for the Section 80 companies, once upon a time that needed to go to cabinet, that application now can be made directly to the registrar. So that process now is a lot easier and cheaper too.
Not to put it, too much of a burden on you, but in the premise that the applicant provides the requisite information, what sort of turnaround are we looking at?
Right. So again, in another amendment to the NPO law, you can get your application completed in 15 days for additional fee, of course. But
call now. But
the usual turnaround time is 30 days.
All right.
And to be quite honest, Sterling, if an application comes in online, we usually have it completed well before 30 days.
Yeah. Provided you understand.
As long as they provided all the information that we require, we can get your application completed before 30 days.
It's a very efficient, effective system from sort of end users that I've heard who've gone through. One or two were a bit daunting. They thought, oh man, I'm put off by this thing, because the perception was going to be difficult.
Exactly.
Then when they went through, they go, oh, wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, there can be challenges getting the stuff that you need together, get all the people involved.
Point taken, exactly.
But once you get that and you go through the process,
we make it very easy for you.
All right, well, I appreciate it very much. And like I say, anytime and how we can be of value to give the public timely, accurate information.
For sure.
We're here, man.
Thank you for having me. Much appreciated.
Always a pleasure. And
seasoned greetings to you and the family.
Yes, sir. Thank you to you and your team. And both professional and personal. A very blessed, merry, safe, and prosperous Christmas.
Same to you, my friend.
All right. Hey, to our listeners, it was a week back. It wasn't very long and tedious week, but boy, it did seem challenging. Next time I go away, maybe I should go for 2 months. No, I appreciate the welcome back. I appreciate the fact that, I actually missed being away. But it was very, very necessary. Somebody said I almost come back more handsome, but I'm not sure. I think they're just being very kind. I need some sun and some chocolate, but I'll work on that this weekend. Monday, Miss Susan, any special reminders that we want to tell people? Obviously, For the Record is still on for another couple more days. All right? So we still got a couple more days For the Record, so you better get it, get your time in. And tonight, Lion Center. All right? So please go out. Spend time at your fellowship. Until Monday, I trust that this weekend will be, one that you truly reflect upon. Be blessed, my friends.